Clouds, hazy sun with spotty rain possible on Wednesday. Good Tuesday night, East Tennessee. David Aldridge, Captain Accurate here from the Captain Accurate Weather Command Center. Well, we hit 78 degrees today as expected. That puts us 1 degree above normal. Record high was set back not that long ago. 2019, it was 95 degrees. But look at the record low. You got to go back to what? Calvin Coolidge era, 1924. Chester Arthur, 1895, and 1876. Who was president back then? Oh, I know, the $50 bill guy, Ulysses S. Grant. I mean, 36 degrees. Those are some old records, but you got to compliment the Weather Service. They do keep great records, and we are very blessed to have a historical record like we do have in Knoxville. We hit 79 today in Oak Ridge, 75 in Morristown, 76 in Newport. High today in Crossville came in at 75. So many of us getting into the mid to upper 70s here on a Tuesday afternoon. It hasn't been dry everywhere. You can see there have been a few passing showers. There were even some maintenance interruptions from the MRX radar today. So if you were looking at your radar and it seemed like it was raining, but you couldn't see it, that might have been because they were working on it briefly today, but there were some maybe outages for a little while they were doing a routine inspection. That's a quotation, routine inspection. But I can tell you that most of what we see here on the butterfly effect on the ultimate Doppler radar is dry, still having some concerns. What looks like a few areas have come down from the north and west, from Campbell County down into parts of Campbell County and into Scott County in the last couple of hours, but most of that has now dried up. By the way, Marcos.com, a great place if you haven't had lunch or dinner. Dinner to plans tonight. Maybe you want to order in. I know it's late, but they're open late too. Hardin Valley, Farragut, and Maryville. They have locations in Fountain City, Halls, Oak Ridge, and you can find them in Middlebrook Pike and Ebenezer Road. They have a magnificent pizza they call the Magnifico. For less than $10, you can put virtually anything you want on it, I would suppose. And Pizzoli is a great lunchtime item for less than $6. My personal favorite is, in fact, the pepperoni and sausage. You might want to check out the Pizzoli either tonight or for lunch tomorrow. By the way, there's not much to see on the radar now. A few sprinkles, maybe some pockets of drizzle. That's about it. There has still been some fire concern dangers in pink in the Dakotas. That's because the relative humidity has been low, the winds have been brisk, and so they're fearful that any fires could spread rapidly, so they're cautioning not to do that out there at this time. Notice there's still some thunderstorms in Florida. The Gulf of Mexico will be a focal point in the next 7 to 10 days. I'll try and explain that here in mere moments. But first, let's talk about Kirk. Who's Kirk? Like Captain Kirk? No, Hurricane Kirk. Oh, forget Star Trek for a second. This thing's like making mincemeat out in the middle of the ocean, but he's going to stay out there. Major hurricane expected to be. He's got winds of 75 now, so he's just a marginal, barely a Category 1 at this time. But you can clearly see with the warm waters, this storm may move due north and will not, I repeat, not cause a threat to the U.S. We can cross off Kirk from our list. We have a list? Oh, yeah, we have a list. We have a 40% chance something forms in the Gulf, and then a 90% chance way over there on the right, because we won't focus on the Pacific here, but a 40% chance in the Gulf that something gets a name in the next 7 days. My suspicion is it might get a name on day 8 or day 9. It's one of those situations that could be a slow mover, and that is not good news for those that live around the Gulf of Mexico, namely Florida or even Louisiana. We'll keep an eye on southern Mississippi and Alabama. But the 90% patch of color on the far right could presumably be named Leslie before we get a name in the Gulf. So if we get Leslie in the middle of the Atlantic, then that opens the door for who? Milton, as in Milton Berle, the comedian from years ago. Some of you may remember that. I'm really showing my age, the fact that I know who Milton Berle was. But Leslie, Milton, and Nadine are the next names on the list. So if we have Milton in the Gulf, Leslie and Kirk in the middle of the Atlantic, wouldn't surprise me. In the next couple of days, all of it is on the table. But what about rainfall? Because it's not going to rain, but maybe a 20% chance tomorrow, 20% chance in the Smokies on Thursday, 30% chance on Friday. But this is just kind of a composite. It dries out on Saturday, but even still, once you get to Saturday morning, what have you picked up? A tenth of an inch? Maybe 5/100ths of an inch? Is it still raining in this part of the world? Yes, it is. But not much. Kind of like today, right? It was a hit or miss, and it didn't last all that long. That's what I expect for the next 3 days. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And even on Thursday, I think it's confined to the Smokies. It's going to be mainly in the Smokies, if it rains at all, on Thursday. But for tomorrow, spotty rain Wednesday, that's anywhere. Dry weekend ahead, and I do see cooler nights in view. Ooh, yeah, cooler nights, like in the 40s. Ooh, you know, when it's like at 45, you can start to see your breath. Some of you may be around 45 in the plateau by next week, by maybe say mid next week, early next week. We'll see. But I do see some cooler nights coming. Let's talk about football, something positive. Our prayers are still with all those who are still suffering in North Carolina and in Georgia, South Carolina. Can't get around that. But as far as our Vols, they'll be in Fayetteville, Arkansas, this upcoming Saturday. The game is going to be televised on ABC. Clear skies. With all the activity in the Gulf of Mexico, it's going to sap all the energy here. So we're going to be like clear here, and they're going to be clear there. So if you are heading over there for fall break, just FYI, they're 3-2, hosting our Vols. And we're 4-0. And we're number 4 in the country, I believe, now. Maybe we deserve to be 1. We'll be number 1 soon enough. Well, the rest of the world will figure that out. We've already figured that out. We know we have the best team going on in East Tennessee and around the country. But starry skies, pleasant. My expectation for this game, as we'll cool from 78 degrees at kickoff, should be in the upper 60s by the fourth quarter. And again, of course, they're in central time zone, so they'll be cooling through the 70s at the Razorback Stadium. By the way, the Futurecast shows this weak front, which will be a focal point for some spots of rain tomorrow. You can see a little bit of green trying to kick up on the backside of this front. It drapes across East Tennessee, the Tri-Cities, fades away by maybe on Thursday, but maybe a spot of rain in the Smokies. You see there maybe trying to approach Bryson City, trying to approach Asheville and parts of where the cleanup continues, but we still have maybe a 10% chance, 10 to 20% chance of rain in the higher hilltops on Thursday. But Friday, there's another front that's trying to approach, and that may spawn a few extra showers. I have a 30% chance of rain and storms on Friday, and then once it's gone, you can say, hello, sunshine, hello, beautiful weather. Future visibility, not great tomorrow morning. If you had fog issues this morning, you might have fog issues again on Wednesday. This is a representation of, 6:45, about 7. Yeah, it's pretty dense, or at least the models would suggest right around 7 o'clock in the heart of the valley and southern valley tomorrow. So just be mindful it might take until 8:30 or beyond for it to finally get out of the way. For tonight, partly to mostly cloudy, some drizzle, maybe a speck of rain, spot of rain, patches of fog. This fog can produce drizzle as well. We look ahead to tonight. We're down to 59 in Oneida, Scott County, 61 Morristown, Hamlin County, and Jefferson City, about 61 degrees. Dandridge, about 62. 61 Athens, 58 Crossville to start your Wednesday morning. Tomorrow, I think we'll struggle to get to 80, but we can do it. If we put our minds to it, we can hit 80 tomorrow. They hit 79 today in Oak Ridge. We can do 80. Clouds, hazy sun, light and variable winds with about a 20% chance of a few showers. No big deal. 79 in Morristown for a high. Expecting only a high of 72 in Oneida. And it's considerably cooler in Jamestown, too, at 72, while 74 in Crossville as you plan your day tomorrow. Looking ahead to the Captain Accurate Weather Authority forecast for Knoxville, East Tennessee. You'll notice there's a 20% chance of rain for the next 2 days, but the Thursday is a caveat. It's only in the Smokies, which means in East Tennessee, most of us, we're going to be dry on Thursday. Then we get a little passing front or approaching front, some kickstart, a few storms on Friday, and then I see both Saturday and Sunday matching at 84. But once we get into the upper 50s, does that feel good? Absolutely. We'll feel even better, more refreshing when we start the morning Tuesday in the upper 40s. That's the cooler nights in view. If we're at 49 in Knoxville Tuesday morning, there's a good bet they'll be in the mid-40s in Crossville, perhaps Wartburg, as well as Oneida. So there will be some cooler air, but 40s almost assured at this point, based on today's data, that early next week it does turn a lot cooler. By the way, you can keep track of it all using the Captain Accurate Weather app with Pete Michaels Traffic, the best traffic reporter in East Tennessee, hands down. Pete's been flying around in a Cessna and flying around in an airplane in East Tennessee since the 1970s. He knows this area like the back of his hand, and he does such a fantastic job. That's why I'm thrilled to have him on the app. You get weather, you get traffic together on the same app. That has a lot of advantages, plus you get all the weather alerts from the National Weather Service, plus 3 extras, plus lightning. I think it's a fantastic deal. And did I mention, it's free, and it works great on your iPad as well. Well, my name is David Aldridge. Some people call me Captain Accurate. It's not easy being accurate. So weather doesn't surprise you. We'll see you here next time. Take care.